Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the host of The Lockdown. It's Zach Danger and number 12.
And welcome back to another episode of The Lockdown. I am your host, Zach Danger, formerly known as Fumi Abe.
And I'm the human being formerly known as Michael Nguyen, now known as number 12.
It is May 16, 2020. We are still quarantined, still alive, doing our thing. And I've had a kind of a rough week, Mike. I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah, how so?
Because well, I kind of talked about this like a couple weeks ago, but I've been talking to some old high school friends on the phone and stuff.
Yep.
And they kind of got into my head, and I am considering moving.
I know. You told me this.
I'm considering moving out of New York to somewhere with more space is sort of the underlying thing. And there is a financial aspect to it, of course, right? Like, I think the number one reason is like, why would I pay for New York if I can't have New York? You know, I think a lot of us move to New York to be artists, to be whatever, to be a business guy. But like, okay, now I'm paying, my rent is like $2,500 a month, and then I can't have that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing here. I'm paying that much money for nothing, basically, is how I see it right now.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it. Also, like, I don't think, you know, you and I were literally like not even a mile from each other, but if I was in a different state, we could still be doing this. And there's something about space, you know, it'd be nice to have a yard. And I think lastly, my justification process was like, I think a lot of people in America, you know, this is before Corona, we all make excuses not to do something. So like, for example, you know, I remember like, you know, a lot of people be like, oh, I want to live in London someday. And you say, oh, why don't you go do that? You should drop everything you have and go. And they're like, no, I can't because my job is here, you know. And now that the world is on pause, that excuse no longer applies. So I'm thinking like, why not, you know?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a pain. I can say that, you know, Fumi, you have become a true American because you're talking about yards and fences and stuff like that. You know, I'll tell you right now, having more space is some white nonsense. Okay, that is white nonsense. Asian people, we're always just like, oh, what's that? Bring more people into my house. Okay, you know what? Your uncle's family and his divorced son-in-law and his kids. Pile them on in. We got a half a bedroom, you know, why not? Let's just throw it all in there and just get more beds. Fuck beds. You know what? Beds, that's also a Western thing, okay? Everyone sleep on the ground together. All right, this is how it is. But I get it. I understand because, I mean, the space thing is so big. Like, I'm trying to set up, like right now I have this new setup. Hopefully you like it. I see it. I think it looks sweet. You can
Hopefully
see
you like it.
You can see my legs. I've got some short shorts on. You guys can't see on my Zoom monitor, but on my phone, I'm recording HD. So, you know, like setting this up in my little apartment, I had to kick my wife out of the apartment to do this. You know, she's right now in the bathroom. You know, she's in the bathroom. That's her room. The bathroom is her room.
You got a nice bathroom though. I do
have a nice bathroom, but like that's the thing. It's like people are like, "Oh, you got a bathroom? Why don't you just sleep in here?" You know, like that's the mentality of New York, and it's I don't want to say it's a healthy one because like there's so little space, and you know, to your point, if you can do your work anywhere, you know, why not do it somewhere else? Yeah, like whatever, you know, because like we've been doing Zoom shows though. We get people from LA to do those shows. We you know, we'll probably get a guy from you know, the Europe or from Australia one day to do a show. I mean, if we could get Ronnie on the show, he could wake up at 8 a.m. and do Hack City. Why not? You know, like
he had said no though. I did ask him.
He had said no because you know why? But that's because he's a businessman. That's different. You know. Not because of the opportunity, the technological opportunity is there. So yes, I understand. I was like setting up my little like crappy like video setup, and I was just like, God, it'd be nice to have like a garage, you know, just something like that.
A garage.
I don't even have a car. I would use my garage for my art, you know, and stuff.
So funny how like you and I are like, we're like, we want to move because we want a bigger bathroom and a garage. Like we're not even concerned about the bedroom. We just want to live in the extension of the outside. But I want to bring our guest in on this conversation because I think a lot of comedians and entertainers have been thinking about this. So Mike, I'll let you bring him up, man.
Yeah, I think what one thing that's been cool is we've had Brian Yang on. He was telling us about his experience, obviously with COVID and how crazy that was for him. Then yesterday we had Jojo Park, and she was telling us about how it is in LA, and it's been kind of cool talking to different people we know in different parts of the country, like what their experience is like with just this whole craziness. So let's get out of New York City. All right, we're gonna bring back a friend of the pod, official, like almost like unofficial third member of the podcast.
Really
this
is.
guy is on all the time. You guys love him, or some of you guys hate him, but it's great either way. And he's a great guy. He's a comedian, actor, awesome dude. I gotta give it up right now for Brian Park.
Yeah.
Wait,
what's going on?
Okay, so I have some haters out there.
but it's like hate. It's the hate. When you're a kid and you hate someone, but that's because you really like them. It's like that.
It's like one of those.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you have a crush on a girl and you're like, oh, ew, she sucks, but like secretly you're like, notice me.
Yeah.
That's people hate you like that. I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. Well,
shut up.
I'll be thinking about it all night.
Brian,
trying to figure out what it is they hate me.
You are recording from what looks like inside of the movie Parasite. Okay, what is it like? That is the most Korean office I've ever seen. Just a teacups.
It's a random teacup. That's a taxidermy alligator. I don't know why that's there.
Okay. What are these books? Are these
a picture
like
of my mom right there?
Cute. Is there encyclopedias and stuff? What is going on here?
We got some Encyclopedia Britannica's up there.
Britannica's.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, classic. Yeah,
Still
and then
paying
that's my
them
high school
off,
diploma
probably.
right there.
What? Your high school diploma?
My high school diploma.
So this isn't your room, right? This is your dad's study or whatever?
This is like a study. I picked this room because it's the quietest place in the house to do this.
This is definitely the room where like the ultimate level of you've disappointed me, and you sit down in this room. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I was like, oh no, this isn't a kitchen table conversation. No, you really fucked up.
This
Come
is the
with me
room
to
where
my
you
office.
really, really fucked up. This is the room where there's no house slipper to hit you with. There's no bamboo stick. It's just man to man. I'm talking to you and speaking to your heart on why you fucked up, and I'm not even going to raise my voice.
Yeah,
God
exactly.
Damn.
Amazing. But where are you right now? So just so our listeners know.
Yeah, I'm in El Paso, Texas right now.
Word.
In my hometown, my roots, baby.
Dang. So your family still has like their house there and everything? Because I forget, like sometimes your family's in Korea too, and then obviously like your sister's in New Jersey and stuff.
Right. So my parents, they go back and forth between El Paso and Korea, but their home base is still El Paso. And early on during the pandemic, when it hit New York, my sister and brother-in-law just made the executive decision that they're going to drive down to El Paso rather than just like waiting in New York and contemplating whether or not to like go or not. And there's always that risk factor. I was a little bit reluctant to go because I didn't want to get my parents sick in case I was asymptomatic.
Right.
We drove down, so we felt that was going to bleed 3 or 4 days from the technical quarantine.
The time off, right.
Right. And then as soon as we arrived in El Paso, I like stayed in a guest bedroom that no one sleeps in like a corner of the house, and would not make contact with people, and just always wore a face mask. So yeah, it was definitely a risk, but I'm pretty happy with my decision, and no one got sick, thankfully.
I like that so many different people are just flexing by saying like, I stayed in another part of the house, like
oh yeah,
I stayed in the East Wing, and I had Frederick bring me my breakfast every morning.
right.
Oh, Frederick.
Yeah. So we definitely had the butler serve me my food and not my parents. Yeah. So.
Wait, did you not? I thought this was interesting when you first told me about that. Was the idea of your sister's family who lived in New Jersey at the time, was the idea of them going to the husband's family house not even an option?
I think they wanted to provide my niece like just more space to play around in.
Right.
And also, to be quite honest, my sister is a little bit, I don't know, something about Korean women. They're more demanding.
There you go. You said it. You said it, not me.
Yeah,
you said it, not me.
Needy. You gotta.
Okay,
You got no choice, man. You just gotta do. You gotta do whatever your wife wants you to do.
I want to say that this is. It's not just a Korean thing. I definitely think it's like Asian people. Like, there's, it's because I have seen some. I know some other people who are like straight up professionals. I'm not talking about like struggling artist types, but like straight up like professionals who are in their 30s and 40s, and they've moved home. They moved home. They didn't have to because like they had the money and everything, but they went back home. And there's something really about like when as soon as there is a pandemic, like the Korean Asian like the horn, the like everybody come back and everybody just like just like, what's that? You got kimchi pajan, and everybody just like flies back.
Assemble
at the house. And I don't blame you because it's like you got your squad, your family squad with you.
Yeah.
And what did were your parents also like, hey man, maybe you should come back, called I blew the horn, you got to come back,
It wasn't even a maybe. It was just we blew the horn. You're getting your fucking ass to El Paso.
Yeah.
And this comes with age as being an Asian person. Rather than fighting back, I'm just like, all right, whatever you say, I got it.
I get
this
it.
is just the easiest way. I get it. I'm going.
I get it.
Now, do you how have you been enjoying your time down there? I want to know, like, are you chilling, even a good time? Are you glad you made this decision? And also, there's two families living there now. It's your parents in your family, and then your sister, her husband, and then her children, right? So, how is that? What's that dynamic like living under two families? I mean, personally, I think that would drive me a little crazy, like week one. But you've been down there for like more than a month, so I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, I've been here for a minute. I've been here for about 2 months now. And week one was actually pretty great because there's so much space here in Texas. And so, I was like hiking. I was reading in my backyard, soaking up the sun. Actually, a really funny story is that we went hiking, my sister, brother-in-law, and I, and it's something I never did growing up in El Paso, but coming from New York, I just have this new appreciation for it where I just want to take advantage of all the, natural parks and nature it has to provide. So we went hiking. It's like a 5-mile loop. No one there, but out of nowhere, run into another person and his family. That person was fucking Beto O'Rourke.
What?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
He's still campaigning,
Well, here's the thing. So my sister was like, oh my God. So I went ahead of my sister. So my sister texted me. She's like, yo, Beto O'Rourke is coming behind you. And so my sister told me when she saw him, she like took a selfie with him and all that jazz.
That's so funny.
I didn't want to like be annoying about it. So he was like, oh, everyone says hi in Texas because it's not New York. So he was like, hey, how are you? I was like, oh shit. I was like, hey. And I didn't know what to say because he's not really serving right now. Like, it's like, hey, sorry about that, man. Like,
did you really say that?
I didn't say that because I was just like, what do you say to someone like that? I'm like, I wasn't going to vote for you, so I just said hey, and then I'm like, damn, this is wild, Like the first person not my family that I interact with is fucking Beto O'Rourke.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Who did you? Who was he with? Was he just with his family or whatever?
He was just with his family. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So funny and so random.
Okay.
But
so that was week one, and then what
one.
happened?
Yeah,
and
then what,
dude,
who's a politician you ran into the second week?
No, man. To be quite honest,
Ted Cruz.
It's really been a roller coaster for me, and it's just come with so many ups and downs. And I was in a super bad place for a minute. Basically, as you guys know, like we're creatives, and I was working freelance. Like when I was in New York, I was pretty pumped. I felt that I was getting some momentum with my acting career where I had like booked a couple commercials. I was about to act in a short film. Everything, like the ripcord got pulled on all of that. My acting school's on hiatus right now. There's really no jobs. There's no productions happening. And so I was just like, I just have too much time with myself and my thoughts. And I just turned 30 over quarantine. And so,
happy birthday!
Thank you.
Big 30.
We're the shittiest friends. We didn't even know.
Congrats. This is your
fine.
birthday present. Okay,
Yeah,
this counts. This counts.
It's fine. No, I didn't advertise it on Facebook or anything like that. So there's no way for you to know. And so basically, long story short, I haven't been well, man. That's
Yeah. Keep going.
yeah.
Tell us all about it, bro.
Mike says keep going.
Keep going, bro. I forgot to say at the up top, you got your great podcast with Youngmi Meyer, Feeling Asian. You guys can check that out. But, I know you guys have been doing stuff. So I mean, I understand that. I would say maybe a week ago, I had the first, I wouldn't call it a panic attack, but it was like the closest I could feel to being like, fuck, I'm like really not good. I woke up in the middle of the night. I felt like a lot of pressure like on my ribs, and I was just like, oh man, like, it's just one of those things. I've gone through things that are bad. So like, I was like, I just have to wait it out and, and sort of figure it out. But if I'm a happy-go-lucky motherfucker, look at my short shorts. Okay, you guys can't see, but I've got short shorts on. I'm usually pretty good at this, and I feel if it's hanging on me, what's it like for a Korean dude, with all of his emotions? Well, so tell us about it, man.
No, so I think there's a couple things at play for me here. One of them, I brought up my birthday because my parents do this, but I've also been putting a lot of pressure on myself where there's this arbitrary importance and significance that's attributed to the age of 30. Like society expects you to have a certain amount of your shit together. Like it's permissible to make mistakes and fuck up and do all sorts of shit in your 20s. But now that I'm in my 30s, and on top of that, I'm with my family.
Yeah.
So my parents are imposing all this pressure, constantly reminding me like, hey, man, like you're 30 now. It's not the same, just really think about it.
Yeah.
And these are all things that I've been thinking about in the wing of my house by myself. And not the wing, that joke bombed, but let's keep going. And yeah, man, like I really, the predominant thing for me right now is assessing honestly and realistically with myself, like where I'm at in my creative career, what is the shape of the industry going to look like? What are the potential jobs that are going to be available for me? And then also, what is it that I want out of my life 10 years from now? And there was a 48-hour period where I straight up was just like, you know what? When I'm 40, I think I'll be pretty happy if I was a doctor.
Yeah, dude, this is it. Yes, there you go. It was it's this. You know what? Your dad's been texting me. Okay, I think we can make this happen. You got the grades. It's not too late. You're in the study already. Just start studying.
That's crazy.
Yo, and I think a part of it is I've been in Texas for the past 2 months and kind of living this more suburban lifestyle, and
for sure,
I'm like, you know what? This is actually pretty nice. Like,
oh no, Mike.
Yeah. No, I get it,
This is
bro.
what you're talking about.
I know.
But it's because the thing that motivates me and drives me in New York City is being surrounded by so many people who are very ambition driven. Now, I'm out of New York. The New York isn't the New York that everyone loves and enjoys so much. And so I'm surrounded. I'm in a new environment where I'm being influenced by different types of people. So I was like, I'm not as infallible as I once thought I was. Like now I'm kind of like, damn, it is kind of nice living this slower pace of life. Having a yard is pretty fucking sick. And so there was straight up a 48-hour period a couple weeks ago where I had just accepted it. I was like, damn, I really want a family at some point. I want some kids.
Yeah.
I think it may not be my number one dream, obviously, because I was going to go to medical school, but then I pursued a comedy instead. And I'm like, I don't even know if comedy or acting is even going to really come back for at least 2 or 3 years. And
Yeah.
my time is precious. Like I'm not in my young 20s anymore. So I had fully told myself, I'm like, you know what? I think I'll be pretty satisfied if I was a doctor when I was 40. So I called up Columbia, the admissions office.
Well, you took
the
some steps. Hold on here. Also, you could just call the admissions office and be like, "Hey, remember me?" And they're like, "Oh my God, it's Brian Park. You're in, buddy."
No. So I've been out of school for too long, and so the Columbia offers this program for students who are looking for a career change. It's called a postbac. So
postbac, yeah.
So it's like a 1-year program where if you do well on it, you're pretty much have a high likelihood of getting admitted into a New York medical school afterwards.
Oh, shit.
And, I looked at the MCAT questions because I knew I had to retake them. I'm like, I haven't used my brain in this capacity in 10 years. I don't remember any of this shit. I should go back to school for something like this. So I called Columbia and I was like, hey, here's my situation. I was a pre-med. I was really good at that shit. But then I decided to do comedy for a while. And I was like, so give it to me straight. Like, can I do this? And they were like, The guy was like, so I'm kind of new and junior in this admissions department. And this is like a question that I need to deliberate with the higher ups because you're in a really unique situation.
Sure.
I straight up haven't heard back from them since. So...
They're still trying to figure it out. They've got this whiteboard and stuff like that, and they have your picture in the middle, and they're just like question marks all around it.
Yeah, but like you said, like I talked about this on my own podcast, Feeling Asian, and young me brought up this, who I do the podcast with, brought up a good point where I'm being motivated by fear. This is all like fear driven, I'm not
interesting.
I'm not like pumped to be a doctor or that kind of life for me. It's more, we're in this pandemic. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of fear. So I'm being propelled by that. Now, so I knew I was in a bad place. I'm looking for anything I can do to be like proactive because that's so precious right now because so much of my job before was on a freelance basis where I'm like waiting. And so I decided to take this. I took this Coursera course called The Psychology of Well-Being. And it's a free online course taught at Yale. It's the most popular class that was ever taught there. And it's just it's a 10-week program where it like reframes how you obtain happiness.
Okay.
And I'm in the midst of it, and I realized that like our brains are really misleading, and a lot of the things that I think that would make me happy aren't really the case. And so the version, like what you're getting from me now, the version of me right now is I'm like, I really don't want to go to medical school. Everything's self-evident. Like I'm doing the things I want to do because I want to be doing them. So why am I trying to like force something? But I think it's just the chaotic nature of this pandemic is making me like second guess myself a lot because I have too much time to my thoughts and like my desires and ambitions.
Is there? Go ahead.
This is like cut to that lady from Columbia gets back. Brian, you're in, and Brian's like, I'm gonna be a doctor now. I think.
I'm out.
I mean, when you told me that you're thinking about moving out of New York, that's just crazy, man. I wasn't.
Okay, so can I talk about that for a second? Because I first told Mike that yesterday in private, and he was like, I think that if you move, you're not gonna come back. And I was like, what do you fucking mean? I mean, I'm gonna come back. And then what you just said, you're like, well, it's like really nice here. Like I have a yard and maybe I just want to be a dad. Yeah. And then I was talking to Hannah Dickinson yesterday. She's also a comedian at Comedy Central. She was like, you're not gonna, if you get a yard, you're gonna be too happy and that's bad for comedy. And I was like, is there this really weird, and I kind of see it. I see it in your haircut too, Brian. You're having a good time. You're having a good time in Texas. Your skin's looking good. That's bad for comedy, bro. That's not funny. You know what's funny? The zit on my face. That's funny.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's this weird self-sabotaging relationship with comedy and how good you can get and like all this stuff where like you have to kind of be in like an uncomfortable place. Right. To like have shit to say. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Is that true? Can you be living in a nice house in Tennessee and be hilarious? I don't know.
I think you can be. It's just that was a lot of my frustrations that come with comedy. Is like at the end of the day, the relationship you have with your audience is that they want to leave feeling better than you. And like the easiest way to do that,
Oh,
the easiest way to
interesting.
do that is to exploit your traumas, exploit like the bad shit that's going on in your life, because that's the stuff
True.
that's easy to turn into humor. And
Yeah.
it's a common criticism for comedians like Dave Chappelle or Jerry Seinfeld, where after they have obtained this monumental amount of success, the number one criticism is that they're not funny anymore. Like Kevin Hart, he's been too rich for too long. He's not relatable anymore. You know what I mean? So I think you're onto something there, where there's an inverse correlation between how satisfied you are and content and how funny you can be as a comedian.
Okay, I want to transition a little bit because
Okay.
we're about halfway through.
Sure.
You're very zen right now, but don't forget you're very horny. That's part of you, and that's part of who you are. And what I want to know, as because you're our horny correspondent, what does being horny in the time of Corona even look like? And I bring this up because you had a very funny tweet. Maybe like this feels like 5,000 years ago, but it was like a month ago. You posted a screenshot of some girl like turning you down. It was like, hey, I thought the FaceTime date was nice, but I just feel like we don't have any chemistry, so stay safe or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. And so I just kind of want to talk to you about like, are you still dating? Have you done these FaceTime and Zoom dates? I've been talking to a lot of comedians who've been doing those Zoom dates. I've heard mixed reviews.
Yeah.
Have you met up with anybody? Obviously like, you mentioned earlier you wanted to be a dad someday. So like these next couple years, that's crucial for you to be a dad. So like, what does that sort of look like for you?
Oh damn, Fumi. Crucial.
Let's start with
crucial.
Let's yes, I'm like your parent right now. These next 2 years are crucial, Brian. But let's start with the horny thing. What does that look like? How horny are you? What's going on?
Yo, it goes up and down. Like in the beginning of quarantine, super horny. But then I think after a month, I call it the post-horny phase, where I think my body has just adapted to the new environment, the new normal, which is quarantine. And so I think there was like a 2 or 3 week period where I just was not horny at all. Zero libido, because I don't know. I think it's like an anxiety response almost, like because our body like doesn't know what's happening. And so it was like catching up to me, because like in the very beginning, it was like a novel thing. You're like, oh, you're not gonna be able to see anyone. I was like, oh fuck, like I'm horny, like this is crazy. You're not gonna be able to see anyone. And then after I got used to that, then I became not horny. And then I guess I don't know, man. Like I'm horny like a normal amount, but it's just challenging because I don't know when I'm gonna go back to New York. Like I say I'm gonna go back in mid-June, but it's no one really knows. It's a week by week thing. Like if there's another outbreak or something.
Are you not trying to like talk to girls in Texas?
No, I'm not.
Why?
I don't know, because I still see my home as New York. Like I want to meet people in New York,
Dude, this is sort of like how, when you go camping, you don't poop for a while because your body's like, oh, I can't go to the bathroom nearby. And I have to go to like in the forest or something, so I'm not going to poop. And then like after like 5 days and you have a huge poop. Yeah, I think that's what that's like. Also, I think you're kind of like, you've become the Buddha and you've detached yourself from physical desires and things like that.
Oh my
God, it all makes
bro.
sense, dude. Bro, this is all making sense. You are now like, you're like on another plane of existence, Brian.
You're not a horny correspondent anymore.
You're not the horny. You're the Zen correspondent. I don't know what happened.
Correspondent. I don't even think you have a penis anymore. I think you sacrificed it. You sacrificed it to get into Columbia postdoc or whatever.
I'm a eunuch now.
Describe to me like what a FaceTime or Zoom date is. Like, so you like, hey, you're talking to somebody, you flirt, and you're like, okay, you want to take this to the Apple phone or whatever. Like, how does and then like you call them and then. Hi, like, do you just talk?
Basically, yeah. It's just, yeah. In a straight.
It's just funny that like that like talking to someone face to face is like, let's take it to the next level.
Yeah.
I feel like we're all just like, what? You talk to her on the phone?
Right.
What a freak, It's crazy.
Right. Well, yeah, but this is something that I kind of wanted to. I guess it's different for you guys because you guys have been with your partners for so long, but like I felt, I have felt lonely, and I'm like, fuck, like I really wish I had a stable partner to be quarantined with, because it would just be so. But then conversely, I'm like, I don't know, because that's like you're with your partner all the time now. Like, do you make time for breaks? Like, how has that changed? Has quarantine even changed?
Yeah. Well,
like the quality of your relationship or what that even looks like?
Oh, young Bry, let us tell you.
Sorry.
Let us tell you, young Bry, how stable relationships work, my friend. This is the thing, okay? I always say, sometimes people are like, we should go on a double date sometime. And I always say no. Because if you're a new couple, I can't go on a double date with you because you're not at me and Maria's level.
Ooh, interesting.
We're like, you know what I'm saying?
Level
Like
20.
we've been playing.
Yeah.
I've been playing the game for longer than you,
Yeah.
so I'm naturally stronger than you. Okay,
Yeah,
like
interesting.
I know more fire techniques than you. So if we go to dinner together, I don't
even
can't
know
deal
how
with
this analogy works, but I agree. Go ahead.
I'm on board.
You're not. It's okay. It's like a dancing analogy. I'm just a better dancer
I
than
see.
you.
Yeah,
Me and my partner are better dancing at you, so I can't go dancing with you. That's all I mean, right? So like that question doesn't even come up because it's like, oh, it's like any other thing. We just figure out like. You just figure out a way to do it. Like Maria walks to the Trader Joe's 3 miles away so I can jerk off at home. That's love.
That's
okay?
love.
That's love. And I'm sure Mike is doing some weird shit at home that he's not gonna say on this podcast.
But Gina, the other day she put on my one of my jujitsu gis, and she's like, "Oh, I know that you really need to do jujitsu, so you go ahead and practice on me." And I was like,
Damn.
I was like, damn, that's love, because she knows I'm going crazy, and it's just like she's like, okay, fine, like, you know, I get it. And the same for her. I'm like, okay, I know that you really want to, I don't know, whatever it is, like,
suplex me.
Yeah, no, well, you know, for her, it's like, oh, she really, you know, wants to, whatever, like, try this cooking thing or whatever it is, and you're just like, okay, you just gotta do it because you want her to be happy, and she wants you to, you know, so you gotta figure it out, and you're like a little bit more upfront about like, hey, can you like not talk to me for like half an hour because I need to do this thing, or I need to take a shit, or whatever the fuck it is. So like, you know, that's our fire technique. That's, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm gonna take a poop. Check this out. You know, I got a question.
My God.
I got a question for you guys just to wrap up.
Yes.
Because so, you know, Brian, you just turned 30, happy birthday. I'm such a bad friend that I don't even know how old Fumi is. How old are you? Like, are you 30 now too? I literally can't remember.
I turned 30 in November.
For some reason, okay, cool. So, you know, it's interesting because you guys are now at the age I was when I first moved to New York. Well, kind of. Like, I moved to New York maybe when I was 20, 28.
Whoa.
But I remember when I was 30, I remember my 30th birthday, my family came, my sisters and my mom came to visit me. And I took a couple days off of work, and I went to, you know, they had bundled it in this big, you know, East Coast trip. So like we also went to DC, and I remember my 30th birthday, and it was like this 30, and I didn't feel like good or bad about it at the time. And surprisingly so, I think I actually felt worse when I turned 25 for some reason. And I turned 30 and I was eating this, you know, this dinner. And I just realized now that like you guys are now at the age I was when I came to the city. And I don't, you know, to reflect on where you guys are now, right? Like, how do you guys feel about, do you guys feel like, and we've been talking about it, but like, do you guys feel like everything was going cool and then this thing really kind of resets you back to some, you know, now you're at home or Fumi, you know, you don't know what you're going to do if you're going to stay in New York. Like, you know, like that is a milestone and it coincides with this like coronavirus thing. Do you feel like this made you reflect more, or is this something that's like, oh well, you know, if I didn't have coronavirus, the coronavirus thing happened to the, you know, the world, I would have just kept chugging along. Do you know what I'm saying?
I would say that I don't really believe in like, oh, I feel like my last 10 years for nothing. Like, I don't believe that at all.
Yeah.
I think there's just like a lot of things that comedy has brought into my life. Like I got to travel all around America. I got to go to North Dakota and like all these weird places, meet all these weird ass people because of comedy. I think I changed as a person because of comedy. And I was finally like, after all this, I got a job in comedy, which if you told 24-year-old open mic Fumi that you would get a job in comedy, I'd be like, no way. Like, I'm an idiot. So like, I think that, yeah, like it's a little fucked up right now, but, and there's definitely like, oh, I feel like, you know, me and you always talk about how like, oh, if we just fucking didn't have Corona, like we'd be so hot right now because we had all this momentum. And like, I think momentum wise, we all slowed down, but like progress wise, like
momentum wise, yeah.
I think it doesn't. I'm not scared or anything that I'm not in marketing anymore. I think everybody is sort of on the same page as what is this? What is this new reality? So if anything, me pursuing comedy, I think, has prepared me for Corona, because I'm just kind of like ready to do anything. You know, I have three. I have 3 jobs right now. You know, I've never done that in my life.
Straight up
I have like 3. Yeah, you know, so I don't know. I feel like comedy has, and you know, this job only lasts until the end of the year, and I'm not even that concerned right now. I don't know why, but like 27-year-old Fumi would have been like freaking out. But something about repetitively like just doing, I don't know, like just taking the scraps and bombing, and just like making money wherever you can, just doing that over and over again, and proving to yourself that you can live fairly comfortably, because you are quote unquote good. Like, I'm not that funny, but like you can make shit work. You know how to make shit work. So I think in a very strange way, I think comedy made me prepare for Corona, like more than I would have been prepared for if I just stayed in corporate. Yeah.
Piggybacking off that, like, sort of last question then. Because right now I think it's just frustrating because nobody knows what's going to happen. You know, week to week, different things are happening in different parts of the country or whatever. But let's just say fucking Hollywood calls up and is like, yo, we can't do any fucking shows or movies for 18 months. No, there's nothing. There's not going to be anything. We just can't do it. It's craziness. There's no comedy. You know, all the comedy clubs, they should have gone out of business a long time ago anyways, but now they're all out of business for sure. You know, in bars and restaurants, you know, it'll be bad. What do you think if let's say we got definitive news, 18 months, we just can't do any of the shit that we normally do. What do you think you would kind of put your energy into doing? Because I know, like, Fumi and I, like, you know, I have so much lighting equipment and I'm buying more. Oh yeah, it's crazy. we're gonna become YouTube people because it's just like the way we're moving in that direction.
Right.
I don't know. What do you think, man?
I'm an actor, dude. Like, all of that shit is so dependent on like other variables, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's like casting directors, what are my relationships with them? Like, if someone has a project that you see me a good fit for, but like if everything's stopped and done, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I would have the energy to be like, how am I going to format this new thing for the Zoom environment? Bro, I had acting classes over Zoom. That shit fucking sucks, man.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, man. You guys heard it here first. Brian Park is becoming a doctor. Oh, man. Congratulations.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations. No. So
my parents won.
Yeah.
Your parents won.
Yeah.
That's what this is about.
That's what I think Korean parents released the coronavirus so that their kids would stop being actors. So this is cool. I feel we could keep talking for a long time, but you know, I know people are probably done with their coronavirus walk, which is what they're listening to us on, and and or whatever. So this has been awesome. Please check out. Well, actually, Brian Parker, what is the stuff you want to plug?
Yeah, check out my podcast called Feeling Asian. I host it with Youngmi Mayer, and you guys can find it on all podcast platforms. And give us a follow on our Instagram at Feeling Asian Podcast. And yeah, follow me on Instagram at It's Brian Park.
Yeah, it's a great podcast. Definitely check it out. Follow us on Instagram at Asian Not Asian Pod, and you can find me on Instagram at Nice Pants Bro.
And I'm on all social media platforms at the Fumi Abe. That's TGIFridays. Also, please get tickets to Hack City. It's every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. On Zoom, all you gotta do is just reserve. It's free. Just reserve on Eventbrite, and we send you an email with the Zoom link on Fridays. And it's been really fun. We've been getting like hundreds of people to come out every week, and it's just like a truly, honestly, I did a show after the Hack City last night. It was so fucking bad. It was so bad that and you know what fucking sucks about Zoom bombing? When you bomb on Zoom, I walk out and Maria's in the living room doing a puzzle, and she goes, "I heard all that," and I'm like, "Fuck you." Fuck off.
There's no normally after you bomb, there's like a train ride where you get to kind of clear your mind. You're like, okay, it's fine, you know. And then you get home and like, you know, your partner's just gonna like be like, hey, she's asleep or something. No, you gotta look her in the eyes. She saw every second of it.
I'm just right there.
That's funny.
So anyways, ours is not like that. It's really good. So please get tickets. Just Google Hack City Eventbrite. Also, Mike and I are doing a TV watch party on Wednesday, May 20th, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
Tickets are also on Eventbrite. Just go to our Instagram at Asian Not Asian Pod, click in the bio link, and you can get tickets there.
But otherwise, thank you very much, Brian. Please stay safe. Hope to see you soon. Please get a haircut. Yeah, that's it, I think, right?
Yeah, man.
that's it.
Brian,
Thanks for
thank you so
having me.
much. And Anals, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.